Cryptocurrency market has been moving sideways since the terror Luna happened. Talk about a $22,000 Bitcoin is still there in the market. And when you look at weekly, the trend on a weekly for Bitcoin, this is what you can observe. And there is a possibility you may still go that lower. 22,000 can be touched if you do that in a couple of months. But you take another step back, go to the macro on a monthly, and you try to plot this trend line. You're like, okay, I think 25,000 or even 24 towards a little bit lower than that, 23,500, 23,800. That level can be possible looking at this one. So if the trend maintains, we are looking to continue higher. What does that actually mean for altcoins? Yes, we do this pattern. We are inside this pattern. Completely agree on that one. But if you compare this pattern, which is happening right now for us, and then go look at the history, it looks like, okay, it is rhyming itself. And when the time is boring like this in the market, majority don't actually care about the fundamentals, because during these kind of correction, what happened in the market is a lot of coin gets wiped out or dropped 99%, but the coins with fundamentals, they move to the upside. And that's why in this episode, I'm going to take you guys through all these documents where you do have to give a little bit of thinking, reading and learning stuff, but you are going to get the details of how this is evolving. Right now, we know that the cross-border payments industry is booming. It's on the upside. It's moving parabolic, and 90% of it is taken out of the market by Swift. Fine, but things are changing. You go look at how these are evolving. Now, you look at different stuff, and this is from londonstockexchange.com, right? You're going through this and you're taking your time understanding how the process is evolving, and then look at the timeline, right? Say from 2014, how they are envisioning this happening. Then you come to 2019, Payments Canada. You read through that and you're like, I actually get that point. I do understand this is happening. And as you're progressing, say 2021, 2022, as of now, things are really changing in this particular industry. Because when you go through them, you get this point of view. All of them now understand what a clearing system and corresponding banks do, right? How they eat more money out of the market. And when taking these comparisons, say, same starting point, same destination, and how things are going, right? Here it's the First Republic Bank, the same here, and what are the process taken in between to reach there? It's like JP Morgan, Deutsche, Standard Chartered. To reach your end, that's a lot of movement through, and no one of them is going to do this for free. They will have their charge, and when they say there is none, that's when you actually come look at this. This is the buyer bank, then buyer's bank, the correspondent bank, the supplier's correspondent. All of them are going to take something out of this. And that's when you actually end up getting this. That's actually bad. In dollar terms, you reduce your purchasing power like this. So that's why when you look at all of this and compare them, you get to a point where you are clearly understanding, okay, I do understand that it's going to take time, but it is happening. A lot of people right now thinks even if XRP fails, Ripple is going to survive. Fine, but will they actually do their real big stuff without XRP? That's the hardest question there, right? And when you look at the aim and how the framework has been created, you clearly understand that I think the options without XRP for a long term is not there. Short term, yes, you are going to see them having advantage. And you go to see these research articles and you are like, okay, this is coming out of China. I agree. This is from there. But as you read through this, you get a ton of information. Then you're like, okay, I understand. Then what are the industry leaders looking at this saying, right? You're going to McKinsey and you're looking at their data, how this is evolving, share of the banking, their revenues, then you go towards this and you're looking at, okay, Asia Pacific, Latin America, you are looking at different regions and you're like, okay, now I understand why Ripple is going aggressively into this particular region and then this region, right? So yeah, in the North American territories, they are having a little bit of issue with the SEC drama, but outside that, they are expanding, because even in this comparison which you saw here, you are looking at it like 70 plus countries. Now, Swift has been there for a long time compared to Ripple, and right now, them having 70 plus countries and doing all these magnificent stuff was actually huge. Now, that's what you have to understand when you see these kind of drops in the price, because when you go look at XRP price, you are actually talking about how this may move, right? Fine. So when you literally look at that and say, okay, there is a possibility that this may bounce, this is short term. This is literally short term. So when you go through all the charts, you take your time to understand the entire market and then say, okay, this is XRP inside that market doing this. So this has been a long range of support resistance. Now we came back towards that range. We already wicked to 0.38. The market was hit with all those selling events from the Luna, right? Now, yeah, we get the information out there and people are saying, okay, some are highlighting that, okay, this is happening in that market. And being in Korea, I'm like, okay, all of these were kind of so down. It didn't actually get that much attention outside. It did get a little bit, but it did not actually get that much. So when you are looking at all of this and saying like, okay, right now, the team is saying that was just a coincidence that they came to Korea, they liquidated their office here in Busan. So if I'm looking at this, I'm like, okay, they just liquidated the office in Busan. They came here in Korea, the Busan, and then they moved on to Seoul. They dissolved the office there way before the price of Luna and USD crashed. So they knew this is coming. If it's my opinion, looking at all stuff's happening in the market, I'm like, wow, that was kind of a rug pull in a different way. Like, there is a drama, I agree, and that drama will still exist, and they are moving on to a new chain. And people are like, okay, let them fork, and I'm going to put my more money into that. Anyway, it doesn't make sense to me, but what that means is the market is still so early, and they don't take their time to go through and look at like, okay, what's happening. If we are really talking about 140 trillion and increasing on a regular basis, right? A surge in global trade and investment followed, right? All of those are happening, and you are looking at the banking industry. The corresponding industry is reducing. Corresponding banking chains are reducing. So the top tier banks, they're eating almost every money being made inside that. If you are inside this market and looking at different stuff, you're also looking at like, okay, what are the opportunities if I'm there to trade, right? If you are trading in this, you do have to understand the trend, the pattern, and how you can make money in them, right? We have posted one of these charts before and then followed up by saying that, okay, that's breaking higher. Right now, if you go look at that, yeah, you came this range where your moving average was there, right? You came to that range. You literally doubled in that short term after that breakout call. And now you're correcting with the bullish attitude. Now, yeah, you do have upside targets, but, I post those in the Patreon, so I can't actually drop that completely here in the video, but you still got one, right? Now, if you take this attitude into this market where you do have some of these assets doing fine and you have patience, you literally can double. Now, it depends on asset to asset and varies from asset to asset, the time taken to do that double. But if you do have patience and you are trying to compound there for a time, that works and you make money. Yeah, I know. It went a bit too long without the intro. But again, welcome to the Scientific Investor family, guys. This is an area where we focus on what's happening right now, so you do understand that you are not taking the wrong step. That's why we go through all this, right? We talk about the science behind investing as much as possible. So you do look at the charts, you learn from that, and you put that perspective in your portfolio to grow over time. It's not happening on a day or two, it's going to take time. But that's one of the reasons why we now started this. TA is something which everyone wants to learn, but it's hard. Not everyone actually does that different way. So if you are into this and you want to actually learn through this, we have actually started a new short sessions where it's like it's not going to take a lot more time from your end, because these are like 2, 3 or 4 minute max videos if you are taking time to learn and you are here to learn. Because once you make money from this market, you are moving to stock market, you are moving to different asset class, and you do have to understand what's happening. Now, yes, fundamentals and analyzing them is really important, but at the same time, your entry and exit is most likely based on the technicals, right? So that's why we are talking about the entries, the exits in these videos, right? Now, we'll keep those as short as possible, like 2, 3 or 4 minute max, and try to deliver what you guys actually need. And I would be doing that consistently over time so that most of the patterns are covered, most of the trends and price action, say candlesticks. I'm going to do candlesticks too. And I think we are going to actually come up with the candlestick videos within this week, right? Say next 3 days, 5 days, we are going to deliver that too. So it will be informational if we are trying to learn from the price action. Now, we are looking at these price action and we are like, okay, we do understand something, right? We are looking at all this. There is a possibility of double bottom and a bounce. There are some assets which are already bouncing in the market. We drop that in the Patreon, right? If you go look at these market, you are like, you already get some which are breaking this weekly range and moving higher. Now you go to the small, medium cap and all, and you see like, okay, there are a lot of coins doing the same stuff. So now the question is like, okay, fine. What about my asset, the XRP? With the SEC case dragging right now we all know what's happening behind the screens. But, Ether, now this is my take on this. I can be wrong, completely wrong on this one. But the way I think is, if SEC is literally supporting Ether, the way they are talking about any developments happening on that ledger, on that network, I'm like, okay, they've been delayed to move on to the new level from proof of work to proof of stake. And right now, it definitely feels like, okay, they are talking about this, but it's going to take more time. And even if it's going to roll out this year, it's been so long. And before that, they don't really want an asset and the network like XRP getting the clarity. So they will slow this down as much as possible until the Ether gets that clarity. So if that's June, if that's September, we don't know, because they've been lying to all of us saying this is going to come now, this is going to come out now, and it's getting delayed. So if that comes out, okay, good for that network. But now all of those who are in it, the proof of work system, they need to actually migrate one by one, because you have all the other networks like Polkadot, Avalanche, and others. I'm slipping my tongue a lot. Forgive me. But, they have a lot of competitors. So if XRP Ledger gets the clarity, we just talked about how things are going to evolve, right? We just talked about outside US and Northern American territory. Things are getting really interesting, because you look at this and you're understanding, okay, how they charge, because you already saw the data directly. Like, okay, if you are sending like $5,000, they are still charging you like $100. And right now, say most of the Northern American territories, you still get to charge like $70, $80 per transaction. Now, you go to do the Ether transaction, you are surprised. You are paying like $5 or $15 fee, and your gas fees is $15 or $20. That's really surprising, and it's leave it. Most of them understand the settlement for the gas fees. But that's why we need something like these, right? The future of the payments. Each micro transaction happening there is a payment, and that's why we need to understand that something built on Interledger protocol and XRP Ledger is going to be sustainable. It's going to be there for a long time, and once you understand this, that the banks and central banks right now understand the entire stuff, and they are here to give you that clarity saying, okay, this is going to happen. But in these articles, they actually give you one stuff, right? Short term. Now that's clear here. If you read this part, you actually get it clear. In short term, SWIFT will take the lead in the remittance market due to the economy of scale. However, in long term, emerging technology like Ripple will eventually revolutionize the remittance industry or even other financial systems. So that's the back end settlement, that's the trade finance, that's everything involving a payment, exchange of value. So short term, this is going to be they are going to slowly catch on to their market share. If 90% is from the end of Ripple, that's entirely different story. But right now, it's by SWIFT. So if you take 5, 10, 15, 20% on 3-year, 5-year, 10-year basis, that's different story. But what we have now is the ISO 20022 coming in. And as ISO 20022 comes in and hit late this year, they need a new infrastructure, a new plumbing to move the money. And then you are waiting for the CBDCs to come out. So you are now moving on to a ISO 20022 where it's kind of interoperable. Every messaging system need to communicate easily. It should be that easy. Now, in that case, if you imagine CBDCs are being ruled out, now it's not only the messaging, it's also the settlement. So to get that time of settlement to be lower, you now also need to factor in a neutral bridge asset. And that's literally where the XRP comes into play. So now you're like, okay, all these people are actually taking their time and energy to do this. So if you are on the right path, you do understand this is going super high. And if you have time to be on this asset and to ride this technology, you are gonna change your life. But don't take my word for this. Go through all of these documents. I'm going to drop all of these in the description below so you can go and read through that. So guys, if you are receiving value for your time, please do hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want these kind of updates on time, you can look at the Patreon. The link is given in the description below. I'll meet you guys on the next video. Bye for now.